So I was in the audience yesterday, and I just have to tell you how incredible it was to see all your enthusiasm and motivation and just how inspired you are being here. It's an incredible room. It's an incredible group. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my backstory. So I'm a Dutch immigrant. I immigrated to this country when I was 6 years old with my brother Albert, my mother's Vansha. That's the boat, actually, we came across on called the New Amsterdam. The only memory I have, in fact, let me show you the next picture. That's my mom and my brother and I on the back of that ship. And the only memory I have is I remember her crying when she saw the Statue of Liberty, and of course I got scared because she was crying. So we ended up in Denver, Colorado, and we didn't have much. We really struggled when I was growing up. I remember we shopped at an expired food store. Believe it or not, they had those back then. And I remember drinking powdered milk with our cereal in the morning. Trust me, it sounds better than it is, but it was cheaper than real milk. And I wore clothes from the Goodwill and the Salvation Army all the way through junior high school till I finally got disgusted when I was 14 because I was tall and I got a job at Burger King flipping burgers so I could buy my own clothes. And some of you may have had it harder than I did, but I knew I wanted more. And luckily my mom had an incredible work ethic, so she babysat kids so we'd have enough money to eat. And she was a bit of an entrepreneur. With her babysitting money, she actually invested in the stock market successfully. She invested in real estate. Her first real estate acquisition was the house right across the street from us when I was 14. She paid about $30,000. And then when I was 17, she told me she'd made $20,000 in her sleep that had gone up in value 20 grand. I'm like, what? You made 20 grand? You didn't do anything? Screw college. I'm getting into real estate. So I got into real estate. I was still living at home. And of course, my first year I made about 8 grand. My second year, maybe 10 grand. But my third year I made over $100,000. So what happened between year 2 and year 3 that caused me to 10x my income? Well, what happened was I met a guy, I was dating his daughter actually, and he taught me about the importance of mindset and psychology, and how really 80 to 90% of your success in anything is the mindset and psychology. Only 10 to 20% is the real estate stuff or the technical stuff. You got to actually take action with what you learn, right? You got to push through fear. You got to push through limiting beliefs. Or maybe you have to get uncomfortable. You know, that comfort zone's a nice warm place and nothing freaking grows there, right? So, fast forward to today, I've owned over 2,000 houses that I've rented long-term in 3 states. I own thousands of apartment units now, and that's what I do. I teach people how to buy apartments, and I love it. But in 2006, my net worth went up $17 million while I slept. And yeah, thank you. And I said, wow, too. And I thought I was a freaking real estate god. I got a head so big I could barely fit it through a door. And you know when that happens, God of the universe might give you a little smackdown? Well, that was 2008. I lost $50 million conservatively in 2008. And so what I'm known for talking about on my podcast, I actually host the largest commercial real estate podcast in the world, I believe. We're at 17 million downloads. And I talk about the mindset and psychology it took to have 50 million lose in the first place, right? But maybe more importantly, what it took to recover from that. I mean, people killed themselves in both the 08 and 09 crash and the Great Depression for losing less proportionately. So I'm going to get into that because it's super, super important. But before I do, I want to show you a couple other pictures. So this is my mom with my first Rolls Royce. This is back, God, in the 80s, early 80s sometime. And then this is my mom at my last Denver boot camp. There were 1,000 people there. That's my beautiful wife who's in the audience right now. And I bring this up because I lost her last year. And she's the reason I did all this. I remember she was there. They brought her from assisted living. My brothers were there. I'm behind stage like a little girl crying because she's the reason I did all this. But I just wanted to give her a little tribute. So we're going to talk about strategies for success. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to talk about strategies for success, and these are going to be really important strategies. They're going to be mindset strategies. They're going to be peer group, things of that nature. So, and that's my podcast. I hope you'll check it out. I get rave reviews about it. And by the way, on that show, I do a motivational clip every week. It's called Own Your Power. It's 5 minutes. You give me 5 minutes a week, I will juice your ass, okay? So I hope you check it out. All right, so anyway, I get asked all the time when I'm interviewed, how did you recover from losing $50 million freaking dollars? I'm going to tell you it sucked, but what I did was I reassociated with what I wanted and why I wanted it. You know, I do boot camps as well. I've got one in Orlando in September, and the first thing we do is an hour goal setting session. Because how do you get anything if you don't know what the hell it is, right? You got to know what you want. You got to know why you want it. You've got to create what Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich calls a burning desire. That's how you push through the fear. That's how you actually take action to do this, okay? So you've got to get clear on your goals. And so let's talk about goal setting for just a quick minute. So this is a Brian Tracy quote. I haven't fact-checked it, but I believe it. And that is 3% of the world's population has written goals. Now here's the funny thing. 97% of the population work for that 3%, right? Hello? Are you with me or are we asleep already? All right. I'll try to, I can't do the Andy energy. I can't do that intensity. Man, that guy was intense. Anyway, so if you haven't done your goals recently, I do a goal setting workshop every New Year's Day. And it's on my link tree. If you shoot that QR code or go to Rod's links, I do it. It's at the bottom. It's a goal setting workshop. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. There's a guide you can download. Here's the sad reality. People spend more time planning a freaking birthday party than they do designing their lives. That's designing your life, okay? You know, if you haven't done it in the last 3 or 4 months, go do it. It's music, it's professionally done, and you'll be juiced after you're done. And see, here's the thing. Here's the importance of goals. What goals do is they trigger something in your brain called your reticular activating system. And that's that subconscious filter that you're not even consciously aware of it, that points you in the direction your brain thinks you're interested in. And the greatest example of it is when you first buy a car. You never really notice them. You buy the car, they're everywhere, right? Were they there before? Yeah, you better believe they were. And so, and again, at Rod's Links, I've got a ton of free resources, a ton of free books there on multifamily. That's what I teach is multifamily, but they're free. They're really good. My number one bestseller is there. You pay $6 or something like that. You get the physical copy of it. So check it out. But, all right, let's get into it. The next piece I want to talk about is abundance. And Brad talked about this a little bit yesterday. And here's the thing. The most successful people in the world are the ones that have an abundance mindset, okay? They believe anything is possible. And that's what I want, you know, that's what you need to adopt. And there, by the way, and the poorest live with a limitations mindset. But here's the thing. We are headed into an economic shitstorm, guys. I'm just going to tell you, especially in my world, in commercial real estate, there's going to be unbelievable opportunity. But there's also going to be a lot of fear. And so it's super important that you get clear on what you want and why you want it, so you're focused on that instead of the crap they have on the news. And it's mostly all crap. So, you know, that's why the goals are also super important. Now, back to mindset. People with abundance realize that there are no limitations. There's nothing you can't do, be, or have. You know, a lot of people are afraid of AI and losing their jobs, but as those jobs get lost, new stuff gets innovated, new jobs will come around. People in scarcity think there are limitations. I'm going to move kind of fast here, guys, because I don't have a lot of time. Usually this takes me an hour. Next thing I want to talk about is believing in yourself, okay? Everybody has setbacks and failures. I call them seminars. That was a $50 million seminar. It was an expensive freaking seminar, but everybody has them. But everybody feels fear. Achievers call it stress, okay? And we all do. Even the most successful people on the planet feel fear, but they're the ones that push through in spite of it, right? And so here's an important quote. This isn't mine. When you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. Don't doubt yourselves, my friends. There's nothing you cannot do, be, or have. And you truly are limitless in what you can accomplish. You're more powerful than you can possibly imagine. So I want to talk about something for a second. It's the power of 2 words. The words are I am. And here's why they're powerful. Anything you put the words I am in front of is an identity statement. And there's no greater force in the human psyche than the need to remain consistent with how we identify ourselves. People will kill themselves or kill other people over identity. You know, they'll accomplish amazing things over identity. So let me give you an example of this. These are horrible pictures because I took them with my phone, but these are things that I have in my exercise room and in my offices. You know, I am passion. I'm the best shape of my life. I'm success. I'm the world's greatest husband. You know, I'm health and energy. I'm the best in the world at what I do. I'm a business genius. I am determination. I am courage. I am focus. Okay, these are things I'm aspiring to bring into myself. So anytime you're struggling with something, whatever the antithesis of that is, get one of these things and put them in front of you. I used to run down the street yelling this stuff. I'm pointing at what I see here. I used to run down the street yelling this stuff. In fact, my kids, they help me at my boot camps, and that's the question they get most often. Did he really do that shit? Did he really run down? Yeah, we had to, yeah. But now I have my own exercise room, so they don't have to hear it anymore. Okay, once you get clear on your goals, and Ryan did a little bit of piece of this yesterday. He had you look a year forward. You know, the forward pace, that's super powerful. We do the same thing at my events. It's super powerful because it pulls you into it. But once you're clear on what you want, you got to make a decision. And I don't mean 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't mean dipping your freaking toe in the water. I mean when you make a decision, it is freaking done, okay? You know, the Latin root for the word decision means to cut off. If you're going to attack the island, you're burning your ships because you're taking their damn ships home. That's a decision, okay? And that's what you've got to do, guys. You've got to make that decision, and then you commit, okay? And then once you've made that decision, you got to take the first step. Dr. Martin Luther King said, you take that first step in faith, and the next step will be revealed. Lao Tzu, thousands of years ago, said the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, okay? But you got to take that first step. I see it with my students all the time. They're like, it's called the law of the first deal. It's been 4 months, they haven't got it yet. 6 months, 8 months, they're whining. I'm kicking them in the butt. And then they get one. The next thing I know, they've got 3. I'm like, what the hell just happened? You know, they realize it's all between their ears. But you got to take that first step, and then you have to take massive freaking action. Okay? My most successful students aren't the ones that are the smartest or came from the most money or live in the right place. They're just the ones that took massive freaking action. And so remember that. That's all it takes, guys. You know, it's a lot of you may be analytical. And as an analytical person, you know, you have to check off every single box before you make a move. Don't do that. Remember this. You don't have to see the whole path. It's like an analogy would be driving across the United States. Headlight only seeing 60 feet in front of you. You know you'll make it. You know other people have made it before you. You may have some obstacles, but you know it can be done. And it's the same way with this business or anything that you do for that matter. But you got to take that first step. Now let's talk about fear and limiting beliefs. So what is fear? False evidence appearing real, everything and run. I'd like to say it's face everything and rise. And like I said a minute ago, successful people, everybody has fear. They just push through in spite of it, okay? They don't let fear, because fear can paralyze. And I'm going to tell you guys, the news is going to paint things really ugly, okay? Things are going to be ugly over the next year or 2 years. We have a lot of commercial real estate debt coming due, a lot of office vacancy. There's going to be a lot of bank failures. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to get you freaking excited, because when I tell you opportunity is coming, I don't say that lightly. It is definitely coming. It could be the greatest transfer of wealth we see in our lifetimes. Yeah, for sure. You know, I just saw Grant Cardone interviewed. He said it's going to be Armageddon, and I agree. I'm going to tell you, it's coming. So get excited, get connected, learn this business as fast as you can. Sign up for Ryan's program, whatever you, just make things happen, learn. Pick your vehicle right now, whatever it's going to be, and go study it, learn it, and you're going to be able to capitalize on it. So fear. Now let's talk about limiting beliefs. So when I immigrated this country, I didn't speak English, and I got thrown into school. And I found out what bullies were the first time. So I got my ass kicked occasionally. And then my mom, proud Dutch woman that she is, thought it'd be a great idea to send me to school in wooden shoes and those leather shorts the Germans wear for Oktoberfest. Oh yeah, got my ass kicked again. Then we had bullies at the end of our street, and she would chase them off with a frickin' fly swatter. Next day, ass kicked. And I came up with this belief system that I wasn't good enough. I used to ask myself, how can I show them I'm good enough? Which of course presupposed I wasn't. If you have one of these belief systems, bring it out in the daylight. Recognize that there's reason the acronym for belief systems is BS, because 99% of them are that. They're BS. But you got to look at them rationally and you'll diminish them. I used to be afraid to raise my hand in class. Here I am in front of a couple thousand people, in freaking flip-flops, So All right, now let's talk about focus. The most successful people on the planet have the highest degree of focus, okay? Focus is power. And everybody in this room, you wouldn't be here unless you're a leader. And let me tell you right now, the world needs leaders more than ever. So pay attention to what you're focused on. Like I said, don't get caught up in the crap on the news. You know, focus on your goals. Focus on why those goals are an absolute must. It's the why that'll drive you. Please go do my goal-setting workshop. I promise you'll be glad you did. Have your kids do it if they're over 10 years old. Your spouse do it. You know, make sure you're all aligned. Super powerful. You know, I listen to 2 podcasts, Joe Rogan and Tim Ferriss. I try to get both sides of the aisle. I'm definitely more on one side than the other, but I listen to both, try to stay balanced. And on Tim Ferriss's show, he interviews the best of the best in the world, best athletes, you know, billionaires, Ray Dalio, you know, NFL, NBA players, actors like Arnold. And I started to hear a pattern. He deconstructs their success. I started to hear a pattern. They all meditate. What does meditation enhance? Oh, you took it down. What does meditation enhance? Your focus, right? Focus is super important. Okay, next thing. You want to play to your strengths. Okay, don't build your weaknesses. Your strengths are your greatest assets, okay? Because when you're playing to your strengths, work is play. You never work another freaking day in your life. You love what you're doing, and you're going to be great at it. So focus on building your strengths, not your weaknesses. In the multifamily space, there's multiple hats you wear. It's a team sport. You could be the one finding the deals. You could be the one raising the money. You could be the one managing the asset after you buy it. So you want to play to your strengths, and you hire, align, or partner for your weaknesses. That's when you kick ass, okay? I don't say that lightly. And when you're playing to your strengths, you're going to be passionate. And in any business, you have to influence people. And if you're passionate, influencing them is effortless, right? And you know, when you're loving what you do and work is play, you can move through obstacles easily. It's no big deal. Okay, passion. Now let's talk about your peer group. You're in an incredible peer group right here. Now here's a sad reality though. Most people default to a peer group they went to school with or a peer group they work with, and some of those peers out of their own fear or limiting beliefs could hold you back, okay? They may fear losing you, fear that they'll feel less than if you succeed. And they've got their own fear and limiting beliefs going on. And sometimes it's family. So I'm going to tell you, and here's the other thing. When you've got a dream, like right now, some of you just getting started, that dream is a fragile thread. Be very careful who you share it with, okay? Because it can break. You know, you may need to love your family, but choose your peers. I remember when I was losing everything in 2008 and 2009, I was in Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership. It's about 130 grand back then. It's more than that now. And I was around people that were killing it while I was losing everything. And they're like, 50 million, schmillion, get up, you freaking puss, and go make something happen. Is that who you want to be around when the shit hits the fan? Yes? Hello? All right. So choose your peers proactively, my friends. Now let's talk about problems and failure. That's a picture of Sarah Blakely. Who knows Sarah Blakely, the billionaire owner of Spanx, right? The woman holds it all together for women. Beautiful human being, by the way. Yeah, it's true. But she started with $5,000 and she's a billionaire. And I met her at another mastermind. And she said that her dad used to ask her and her brother once a week, what have you failed at this week? What an awesome freaking question, right? To not fear failure. Guys, we fail our way to success. I have built 27 businesses so far in my lifetime. Several worth tens of millions of dollars. Most spectacular flaming seminars, okay? Failures. But again, when you're an entrepreneur, you're like a shark. You only die if you stop swimming. You just get your ass up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going. Are you going to have setbacks? Yes? You're going to have some failures? Yes? If not, you're not trying. I'll be honest, okay? So don't let that stop you. You just keep moving forward. Okay. Now I want to talk about gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful emotion you have available to you, okay? It lowers your blood pressure. It brings you closer to your spirituality. I've heard a lot of spirituality talk this last couple of days. Beautiful thing. It strengthens your immune system. But what's really important as well is it helps you manifest what you want into your life. You know, I do this thing in the mornings where I'll sit in my recliner and I'll do gratitude for my amazing, beautiful wife, my kids, my coaching students, my foundation. And then I'll do gratitude for the things that I want as if I already have them. I got my vision boards there. And sometimes I get emotional being grateful for things I don't even have yet. And I know some of you are going, oh, Jesus, foo-foo land. Well, this is how I had $50 million to lose and how I got it back, my friends. So ignore it at your peril, right? That's how you manifest what you want in life. You know, I manifested my wife. I had a vision board for what I was looking for, the emotions I was looking for. She's supermodel beautiful, and she's more beautiful on the inside than the outside. That's how I manifested, you know, stupid shit like the watches and the Lambos and the Rolls Royces, and that's stupid shit, but not maybe stupid to you, okay? And that's okay. You need the goals to drive you, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So let me tell you a story. So I moved to Denver, right? But I knew I always wanted to live on the beach. There's no beach in Denver, but I would visualize the surf and the palm trees and the you know, I'm a guy, bikinis and the sand and whatnot. And 20 years later, I built this $8 million spectacular 10,000 square foot mansion on the beach. I had the beach on one side, thank you, and I had the beach on one side, I had my boats on the back side. It was called a Gulf to Bay, like a slice through an island. And I mean, that was unthinkable when I was 18. So when you do your goals, take the lid off your brain. Again, there's nothing you can't do, be, or have. You just have to decide, and then you freaking go make it happen. Nothing you can't do. And so I worked for this house for 20 years, okay? 2 months after I moved in, I'm floating in the pool at night. Pool's changing colors. It's got fiber optic lighting, and I'm just to describe this house, there was a giant waterfall from the second floor balcony into the pool. You had to walk through the waterfall to get to the pool. Pool was in magazines. Giant spiral staircase up through the middle, wine cellar, elevators. I'll land the plane with this. On the second floor, I had aquariums built that cost me almost 200 grand around the spiral. So this gives you an idea of the house. So I'm floating in the pool at night, and I'm looking up at this testament to my ego, which is really what it was. It was to prove the world I was good enough. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but that's the truth of it. And I got depressed. And I don't mean a little depressed. I mean, I got really bummed out. I'm like, what the hell? I had the Mercedes and the Maserati in the garage. I had the boats, the jet skis. My family's inside sleeping. How could I possibly, I've just achieved success like times 10,000. How could I be depressed? When I look back on it, there were several things happening, and that's what I want to share with you. Number one is you never achieve a big goal without having other goals lined up behind it. Like the good book says, without a vision, the people perish. You need a vision for the future, right? And it's never about the goals. You need the goals to create that burning desire so that you kick ass and take action. But you know, they say the happiest days of a boat owner's life are the day they buy the boat and the day they sell the boat, right? But you got to have them. You got to have those goals. But it's not about that. It's about who you become on your path to the goals. Happiness comes from progress and growth. But, you know, so that was the second piece. But the third piece is I was totally focused on Rod. Show the world I matter. Show the world I'm good enough, you know. And that's the year I went and saw Tony Robbins. And I saw that he fed families for the holidays. And I'm like, what a concept. Do something for someone else. I had to embarrass to say I had to be 40 to get that freaking memo. So I went home, I called my brother after the event. I said, bro, I'm going to go visit you for Thanksgiving. I said, let's feed 5 families. And so he called his church, found 5 families that really needed help. We bought food and frozen turkey and toys for the kids. The third family changed my life. We go up to this house, there's a woman there with 5 kids. And she's in a 1-bedroom, wasn't even a 1-bedroom. She comes out, she sees all the stuff, she starts crying. Her kids come out, 2 of the older ones starts crying. I start crying, and I'm hooked. And I'm blessed to say in the last 23 years, we've fed 140,000 children for the holidays. Thank you. I appreciate that very much, but I appreciate that, but there's a real message here. We've done tens of thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies. We're doing 1,800 backpacks here in August. We've done tens of thousands of teddy bears for local police departments, for officers to keep in their vehicles if they encounter a child that's been traumatized. The reason I bring this up is Tony Robbins calls it the science of achievement versus the art of fulfillment. Okay, achievement's a science, okay? You want to learn this business, join Ryan's thing or come to one of my boot camps for multifamily. That's a science. You'll get the blueprint. You just got to go freaking do it, okay? That's it. But fulfillment is an art, okay? You got to figure out what juices you. For me, it's kids. Maybe for you, it's animals or the environment or elderly, whatever it is. And give back right now. See, I know there's people in the audience right now. I've seen them with blood dripping from their teeth. They want this success so bad. I'm going to tell you, when you give back, it comes 10 times faster. You want money, give, okay? Don't do it for that reason, but that's just the way God works, okay? So make sure that you incorporate that right now. Don't say, okay, you had money so you could do it. No, this is how you get the money, okay? So make sure you're giving back in some fashion, and the success will come faster. See, Tony Robbins says, you know, we achieve to be happy. But when you give back, you're happily achieving. I know it's a play on words, but it's an important one. I love you guys. Go kick ass. Thank you.